What if work wasn't just about tasks, tools, or titles, but about intent, purpose, and impact? Welcome to XTraw AI, your podcast series on machine learning, AI, and the real world stories behind how technology is transforming businesses and lives. I'm your host, Raghu Banda, and this show is all about extracting the raw AI conversations, going beyond buzzwords to uncover the thinking, struggles, breakthroughs, and visions of the people building the future. Today's episode is all about turning intent into impact. We're joined by Maqbul Khan, founder of Intentful.Work, a startup rethinking how work should feel, function, and create meaning at the intersection of technology, human purpose, and intelligent systems. With Maqbul, we'll explore why Intentful.Work exists, the journey from idea to reality, how technology, and especially AI, can shape a more intentional future of work, and what it really takes to build something that matters. So, whether you're a founder, a builder, a leader, or someone just questioning what work should really mean, this episode is for you. Let's dive in and extract some raw insight with Maqbul Khan.
All right, welcome back. So today we are going to get into an interesting topic. I call this topic from intent to impact. You'll get to know why I gave this kind of a heading for this topic. And with me is Maqbul Khan. Maqbul, welcome on board.
Hi, Raghu. Thanks for having me.
So Maqbul, before I get into the podcast conversation in detail, I think generally I kick off the things with few teaser questions. I know you started work on this Intentful.Work, I think your startup or your innovation or your journey. So what inspired you to get in there, and was there a moment of clarity that made you realize that you have to get started on this? Or in other terms, how did you end up getting here with a lot of these AI things going on around?
Yeah, no, this is very interesting question, and there wasn't really a moment of clarity, but I guess I would say there were patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, when I got into the journey of doing job search for my next chapter, what I realized is getting to the whole job search process is pretty intensive, but at the same time, I noticed that most of the people go very tactical.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get my resume done.
Mm-hmm.
I want to, start applying for the jobs. I want to get into the interview. They get into the interview, they realize they have hit a dead wall.
Right.
And I went through this entire journey and I found very interesting data points there. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I decided to go out, given that being into the industry for 20 years, decided to go out and start helping people in the Bay Area around the community where I live. And again, there I see a very, very unique challenge with most of the professionals going through same behavior, same mindset. And though I started helping them to give them all the right recommendations,
Mm-hmm.
that turned out to be demands coming is, can you run workshop?
Okay.
Can you run a program? And I'm like, look, I'm not here for that. But that completely drove me into that. And third, after me getting into that, all of this exercise, so far I've spoken to more than 300 professionals now.
Nice.
The one thing stood out. 80% of the professionals could not articulate their business impact.
Okay.
90% of the resumes always talked about the responsibilities. And all of this is because professionals really don't go strategic. It is not their experience problem. It is not that they are not qualified, but they don't go strategic and they go tactical. They don't know their value and they just rush towards, getting applying for the job. So that's where I found that there is a core problem of helping really professionals uncover their value and create their impactful narratives.
Beautiful. I think you hit the you hit the right chord out there. I know there is a lot of fear out there with what is happening around with AI impacting the lives, impacting the jobs, and other things. And I know with the impact, that is the reason I was naming this episode "Intentful to Impact" or "Intent to Impact," because this is where you're trying to bring in that particular impact of a person or a firm or whatever, and showcasing how it can be leveraged, or it can be, or profiling it in the right way. So before getting into the actual conversation about our episode or about our topic, so could you give a brief background about what you are working on, and how did I know you explained about why you ended up here, but what were you working on before getting in here? Maybe a bit of a background so that our audience understand where you come from.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think I totally agree. I guess so. To give more color to this, to paint more picture to this, I in last 1 year at least, and my background is I've been into the engineering. I was director of engineering at Nutanix in my last role. And when I decided to take the next journey and personally went through the challenges, I have interacted with so many professionals in one-on-one conversation, setting up meetups, as well as creating and running the coaching program on job search. And I was very clear that there is a need for solving this problem. And the success is not about just going and building resumes.
Right.
Right. I personally have gone through, given in the leadership role, I went through quite a lot of learning myself as to how do you differentiate yourself? How do you position yourself? Who you are, right? And all of this happens through the reflection process.
Right.
And what stood out to me is the question I asked. So recently I was talking to one of the executive coach, and I'm like, we talk about reflection and we say, do you reflect? And I'm like, yeah, I reflect. Oh, how frequently you reflect? Daily, weekly, monthly? But how do you really reflect?
Right.
And that was to me very much enlightening, and I was very much surprised by that. And I took so many professionals through that process.
Okay.
And that's where it became so much clear to me that why this problem is so critical and why is it so important to help professionals. The last thing I want to say is, working in large enterprises, startups, everywhere, what I've seen is there are systems for organizations and companies, but there aren't really so many systems or tools out there for people.
Okay. Got it. I think Yeah, that's a nice point that you brought up, right? I think for systems and organizations, I think we see a lot of tools, a lot of things out there, and a lot of positioning out there. But for individuals or people, whether it is an individual or a person or a team, that is lacking. And this is where I think you come with your concept, your vision, and your product. Maybe I think, can you walk us through what Intentful does, or what Intentful.Work does, and what, in simple terms, for a layperson, uh, from a technical or a business perspective, if you can lay it out, then we can go further down the lane.
Well, definitely. So I'll put it out this way.
Mm-hmm.
We are building AI reflection coach.
Mm-hmm.
This coach takes job seekers through a deep guided reflection, really help them uncover their values, their skills, their strengths, and then use this reflection conversation,
Mm-hmm.
which is a second part, to convert into the impactful narratives,
Okay.
the real impactful stories. And then step 3, because we are focusing on the job seekers, we are helping them do the right role fit analysis using these stories for the jobs they wish to apply.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, we are building out very authentic resumes
Mm-hmm.
from the stories. Number 5, organizing everything in one place so that they don't need to struggle. They know which job they applied, what was their role fit analysis there, what was their score, and which resume they used. And finally, the number 6 is build out their professional brand. And these stories, with one click, could be published on the internet, on the social media. That's intentful work.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So you focusing more on the job seekers. So I will take this question in a different way. How did you decide that your initial target audience or this customer base, meaning the job seekers, are there some tough decisions you had to go through to whom to serve first? Because more often than not, when I talk with uh, companies or the startups or the founders in this space, they end up going both the sides, like meaning the job seekers as well as the other side, the job requirement search as well, right? I think because you have to hire somebody. So they say that always the product has to go both the ways, but you are very particular in going towards job seekers. What's the decision point that you arrived at this?
Yeah. Well, Raghu, you have asked a very good question. And I'll tell you the fact here, 2, 3 things. Number 1, the data speaks that 72% of the professionals really struggle through the mental health issues because of the job search,
Mm-hmm.
right? Number 2, and you would be really surprised, 90% of the professionals believe they are self-aware, but only 10 to 15% are in reality.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And number 3, from the employer's perspective, the data says that 74% recruiters are actually reporting that they are seeing generic resumes or generic applications because of the AI, right? And what we are trying to do with Intentful Work is really flip this entire story and take them in job seekers into that deep reflection to really understand who they are.
Mm-hmm.
How should they position themselves? Where should they focus on?
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, finally, help them see their value and create that unique narrative, impactful narrative, so that they don't just become another generic individual from the resume perspective. They don't go through, and all of this lead to financial crisis,
Right.
mental crisis.
Right.
So that's where it is so much connected to me, to my heart, that I just want to help people. And as a company, we want to help professionals while there is a big market there, but we want to solve the problem for today, which is currently job seekers are really, really struggling.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I think there is one thing which you mentioned, I think it really hit the chord for me, right? You said that there is 72% of the people, I think, go through this mental stress when going through this particular journey. And that is where you're trying to address that stress and then create a narrative which is amazing, so that you can tell the story about what exactly an individual or a person or a team has performed. I think in that way, you can showcase that better. I know you might have, when you're putting together this, you might have gone through a lot of these challenges or failures or learnings. What's the biggest challenge, whether it is the technical team or the market or the mindset you face in the process, and how did you navigate it, or how are you trying to navigate it? I know it's a journey, it's a process, it takes a little effort and a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a harder one. And I would say the positioning, the product positioning.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely connects back to the previous question as well, because we've been thinking that, you know what, there is a lot of value of the product, even going and helping the working professionals as well.
Right.
But that's where we said our beachhead is job seekers.
Mm-hmm.
And from that perspective, how do we position ourselves is so crisp, has to be so crisp, is so critical. We just don't want to be everywhere because we are a startup, we are fully bootstrapped,
Right.
and we need to see that result ourselves coming forward for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the whole product positioning exercise has been so challenging, because we ourselves going through the learning, you know, myself going through the learning, even communicating what we are bringing on the out for the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make people understand the benefit of this, the benefit of reflection, why the impactful stories are important? Because if you just look at, it is not that it's everybody just rushing to go build resume, go apply, spray and pray, you know, just hoping I need to get a job. And it's totally understandable because it's a very emotional challenge. But then communicating and explaining to people why is it so important has been the biggest challenge. And we are in the journey for sure. But we are very clear that we want to position right our product.
So in this process, did you face any missteps or that taught you something very important, either the product, the market, or any things that you learned as part of this process?
Yeah. I think sorry, Raghu, can you go back to the question?
So what I meant is, in this process, there might have been some kind of missteps or some things that you might have missed, or you might have thought like, okay, I need to address this issue or that issue, or in the process, did you learn something? Because this is a very impactful product that you're building for the market, for the individuals out there. And I believe, I'll get to this question later, you will also carry, because when you're creating a narrative or when you're creating a profile for an individual, at some point of time, you're also gonna go inward where this individual is currently working. maybe you will in future, you might also work on a product where it can also be positioned for the enterprise firms that maybe you can get into this performance management kind of a solution. So I believe the journey will get there at some point of time. Maybe you are focusing more on the individual level. Are there any missteps that, and how did you apply addressing this?
Yeah. So the entire startup journey, to be honest, is, failing fast, correcting yourself,
Right.
moving forward. And that's how most of the companies grow.
Right.
And if we don't make mistake, we won't really learn. So we have to, move very fast. I guess one of the mistake I would say I made was I took too long to really get started on this journey. Okay. And that was, just my own mental blocker. I had to just unblock myself and get going. Number two is sitting on the problem for too long. Don't just keep thinking, but start taking actions. Your execution has to be way fast. As long as you feel that it is going to work, you have to move forward. So I think these are the two things I would say is, just don't have any mental blocker. And number two, don't sit on a problem for too long, but keep moving forward.
Okay. Beautiful. So let's get into this aspect of now the tech and the AI and the future of work, right? I think, yes, you're building this product, you build this product, and then it carries and you're creating this narrative for the individual so that the journey or the narrative is created in such a way that you can create impactful experience, and then you can easily find yourself a better opportunity, or so on and so forth. Given your experience building this product or this work, how do you see? And now there is a lot of tech involved. I think you briefly mentioned about AI being on both the sides, on the recruiting side as well as on the employee side and the employer side. So how do you see the role of AI, the automation, and all these kind of different tools evolving in this future of work? What are you optimistic and what are you cautious about? I think there is both sides of it, right? I think when AI is getting into these kind of fields, it is also, there are some things which are going to be better, will get better over a period of time, but there are some things which will also kind of maybe create a little bit, might worsen a bit. So
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, twofold, Raghu. And this is very important. One is the AI is gonna help people. So there is a breadth and there is a depth. Okay. The way I see is in terms of the going horizontally, if you look at AI is going to really benefit in different functions. And there are different companies, take Anthropic or even OpenAI, they are focusing very, very domain specific and making progress into each of the domain. And that's where, for example, I'm an engineering person. How is it going to help me? It is going to help me gain the efficiency. For an engineer, what takes about 1 week or 2 weeks can now be done in 1 hour, 2 hours. That's really possible.
Right.
Okay. But at the same time, the other element of what we are seeing, anybody can do anything with AI to some extent. It is to some extent. And that is where, for example, if let's say I want to go and launch a very fancy website as an engineer, can I do it? Yes. I mean, I can go and use AI, do things, but
Right.
will it be to that mark? Will it make that mark? No, I'm not a marketing expert. So having said that, does it really get rid of, other people? The answer is no.
Okay.
You still need those domain expertise. And that's where connecting it back to the first point is the marketing people now, similar to the engineering, will get efficiency. So a marketing guy takes building and solidifying the website positioning and copywriting and everything, maybe 2-3 weeks. Now that individual can get things done probably in just about a week.
Much faster.
But remember, the point here is I still need that individual because I'm not a marketing expert.
Right.
So it is not eliminating the work completely, but it does actually, gives efficiency. And having said that, the third point, the last point I would make and end here is it will overall definitely impact the workforce because the work can be done very faster.
Right.
Right. And that's where one person can do quite a lot. So there is definitely going to be the impact on the workforce.
So taking this further, I think if you had a magic wand and no constraints, what does the ideal future of work could look like? And how would Intentful, I think you building this product, would realize help that vision? Because you are getting into that space where you're trying to help navigate a person from a position A or from one role to another role. You're trying to help them navigate, tell the story, make it better. So what are you envisioning if there is a magic wand or something like that? How would you envision the future of work would look like?
And that's, Raghu, my favorite one. Okay. And I'll tell you, honestly speaking, so I'll just bring up what Reid Hoffman said a couple of years back, that the future of work is going to change and the talent will be potentially democratized. Okay. And I think that's where, with so much happening with AI as well, and there is impact on the workforce as well. The way I see is potentially or possibly people will more move towards the contracting engagements. And companies would like to hire people who have the right talent.
Right. Okay.
And get to the outcome faster. And in that kind of situation, our goal is to really come up with that magic wand of intentful work and have that companion with the professionals from now so early before the time comes, is to really help prepare professionals to start reflecting and creating those unique stories. Because it is not about just talking generic, saying, I am marketing, head of marketing or director of engineering, or, I built SaaS application, whatnot. But rather than that, what is your unique value? Right? You go even on the internet, search up the individual, you search up Maqbul Khan, even on LinkedIn, you won't be able to really understand beyond my name, my title, my company, my location, my role. Who is Maqbul Khan, right? So that is where we are seeing giving people that companion, which can help them really bring out their value and create their professional brand.
Great. I think that's an amazing way of putting it, like how you can create that additional value. It's not just like a generic way of explaining what you do, but I think in the future of work, when you talk about an outcome-based future, which is where you need to tie more with what kind of personal narrative or what kind of personal stories that you can tie up when you talk about the work that you have performed from role A to role B or role 3, whatever. So for people listening today, what emerging trends or shifts in work culture or technology they should watch out for? Or how should they prepare themselves personally
Yeah.
or professionally? I know because you've been in this space and you're building a great product here, working with a lot of these professionals.
Yeah. Yeah. So two, three things definitely. Number one is um, you want to really start looking at who you are,
Mm. Mm.
okay? And what is your value? Because we are getting into a very different time now. And once you have really uncovered that, the second thing you want to jump onto is which domains you can provide that value. So repackaging yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Repackaging yourself in the industry and say, these are the impacts I've created, and these are the domains I can go and help with. This is the value I bring. So really knowing this, doing this two exercise is so critical. And third is start, creating your brag document, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
because you need to have that.
Right.
It's a very high time.
Right.
So don't lose out on that and start doing that. And obviously there is that intentful work. Your brag document can just add value to it.
Right, right. So, by basically trying to understand the business value that you bring in and how do you assign or how do you align with that business value when you're working on these different aspects of it. So,
Yeah.
let me now get into a bit of a philosophy or the culture or the advice kind of questions or the topics that I would like to bring out. Uh, so, I know you're a founder, the builder of this Intentful Work. You had a lot of experience coming in from. What are the core principles or the values that guide you as a person, which helped you in this journey in building this kind of a product? Because this is a product where it is, like you mentioned, it is touching a very emotional subject, the future, not only the workplace, but also the future of work and how things are getting impacted, right? I think with a lot of technology and a lot of things getting there. So, how do you, what are the core principles or values that guide you as a person?
Right. I think the most important one, Raghu, I would talk about is the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that took me to intent,
Okay.
right? I have been reflecting for many years that what is that purpose I am on this earth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that question had constantly been around in my head for many years. And I've been thinking that. And last year, actually, I wrote even an article
Mm-hmm.
on connecting both of these things. The article was building your personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even in the article I mentioned about coincidentally, I wasn't really, 1 year down the line, I didn't know that, I'll be building this intentful work, but that has been there with me for many years. And when I wrote that article as well, that you need to know what is your purpose
Mm-hmm.
and you have to go after your purpose. And that is where it is not about having the titles, but it is how do you build your thought leadership? How do you build your brand?
Mm-hmm.
Is really bringing out your real value and seeing if somebody can just benefit from that,
Mm-hmm.
right? At least start with that.
Mm-hmm.
Even this journey, I started off trust me, it actually started me going out to help people
Okay.
because they were struggling with the job. So there was that purpose I found in this.
Okay.
And that's where it struck with me so much that there is that real problem, and I'm going out with the purpose, and I'm touching the life of individuals here.
Mhm. Beautiful, beautiful. I really, really appreciate you providing deep thoughts on that. So now I'll come to the interesting question. I termed this as the extra AI question, the $1 billion question, I'd say. I know there is a lot of competition in this space that you're building, right? I think we have tools like LinkedIn. I think there are, you don't need a new name. There are tons of things out there. What is that uniqueness with Intentful? I know you talked a bit about creating this personal narrative, personal story, and reflections and all. Or I would say, let me put it this way: what is that uniqueness, or what keeps you awake at night, in a good or in a better way? Like, what is that your? Maybe you can talk a bit about your product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what are we competing against, right? One is actually nothing problem, right? There is that people are in that perception that everything is good and they are not doing anything about it. That's number one.
Right.
And we are working on creating that awareness that just don't sit on it. Just don't be in the perception that everything is good. That's number one. Number two, there are AI tools out there, ChatGPT, and so many tools. And common question is like, hey, I can do this with even AI or ChatGPT, but the data itself speaks that recruiters are really struggling these days. 74% of recruiters reporting that they are in the sea of sameness.
Yeah.
Every resume they pick looks so generic.
So generic. Yeah.
Right? And all that is because everybody's rushing towards AI using ChatGPT or any other tool, but really don't know how to make it work. So we are we are working to bring that, solve that problem for people. And then the third one is actually the entire career coaching market is a very experiential, actually, if you look at, to be honest. So any career coach, if you have to hire as well, it'll cost on an average of $200 per hour. Right? And that's where we are trying to bring those companions in future for professionals, which can be there for throughout their journey. So our longer vision is to really go and provide those companions to people, to professionals, which can be there throughout their journey, to make them really intentful with their work. And our goal, as you asked the $1 billion question, the immediate goal is to get to 1,000 paying customers.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I believe I like the way you have put it, right? I think, of course, there are a lot of tools out there, but the way you guys are addressing it is addressing that emotional need, and also how you can bring that personal narrative when you're working. It doesn't matter whether you're looking for a job or working or whatever, you're constantly updating your profile. Exactly. And you're carrying it as a personal coach, or in future, like you said, like you might also be able to blend this with other products wherein you can provide like additional performance management related aspects or other things, and so on and so forth. We don't need to go into those details now, but I believe the journey is somewhere going there, right? I think
precisely.
Yeah. So now I know I try to keep our conversations under the 1 hour limit. But before I let you go, I have a couple of more questions. I know, looking back, how do you hope people will remember or describe Intentful, this journey that you're embarking on few years down the lane? Because there is a lot of personal thought you put into this when you embarked into this journey, or how do you want it to be remembered?
So, and I'll just share the feelings of some of the early users who are having with as soon as they start using the product. And
Great,
that
great.
has
That
really
would be
stuck
great.
with me actually.
Okay.
And the moment I got some of the early users into the product to just experience it, as soon as they start talking to this reflection coach, one of the product manager, pretty senior product manager, wow, Maqbul, this is getting exciting. Okay. Another individual, pretty much very senior, almost like 18, 20 years experienced. The individual started using the product. A few days later, I got on a call to get the feedback from him. And the response was, Maqbul, it really felt nostalgic. I never thought that there could be such tool which can help me take back into my previous career journey, as well as really help me uncover what I really enjoyed, what I did not enjoy, what are my strengths. And that is what I'm really hoping that people will come out telling those stories. And there is another person who actually 4 weeks back got offer from actually Meta, and she got on a call with me. And the moment she got on a call with me, the response was like, I could never imagine that I could position myself like this, create such impactful stories. So I think that's what I'm really hoping for.
Right. Now, these are some amazing examples that you've provided, these testimonials, and then how it is changing the way how people are looking at themselves. Because there's a lot of things that you might have done in the past. If you cannot bring it out in the way it is needed, that next opportunity you might be missing.
Yeah.
Let's see, that is where I think you folks are trying to bring that in.
Yeah.
So one final question before I let you go. I know if people want to know more about Intentful, or if they want to reach out to learn more, how do you think that they can learn a bit more about Intentful?
I would really love people to get onto it, start experiencing. We are in public beta right now, and people can go on Intentful.Work. That's the website. HTTPS :// Intentful.Work. Simple. And just drop in their email address, join the wait list. We are actually rolling out every week, onboarding a handful of customers, users. So anybody would like to try it out, they can just go to Intentful.Work, join the waitlist, and we will very soon invite them to start experiencing the product.
Beautiful. I forgot to ask you one question. I think I always wanted to ask. Is there any backstory for this name, Intentful.Work? I think it's an amazing way you brought this name. I think it gives it keeps you thinking, like, okay, it's a great way, I think.
Yeah. So I briefly touched upon that, but I'll add more color to it. So there is that purpose which has been there with me for many years, and I've been thinking about that. What is that purpose? Yes, I've had amazing roles, leadership roles, but my purpose. So that has been there with me. And then building your brand was again there. And brand building is, trust me, it is not about having a CEO title or a founder title.
Sure,
It
sure.
is not. It is not that. It is who you are and can you really go and help people,
Yeah.
right? That is the leadership. And actually this entire process of this whole job search, when I went through that, I paid actually thousands of dollars even for coaching. What I found out, nothing wrong in it, but everybody has a different way of approaching this.
Mhm.
And people do spray and pray. People do cold emailing,
Yeah.
cold messaging on LinkedIn. It really, I started reflecting as to what are you doing actually there?
Mm.
And is there a way to be more intentful and purposeful
Mm.
and show your work, who you are? And that's where that these 2 or 3 words were struck with me. And I kept saying, don't use AI, just left, right, and center. Don't just do cold emailing. Don't just do, spamming people. Don't just do spray and pray. Be intentful.
Right. Right. There should be a purpose. Yeah. Yeah.
There has to be the purpose, right? So that actually struck with me. And I'm like, you need to show your intentful work. And that's where the last thing I'll share is, even there is one feature which we are going to be rolling out very soon. This
Mhm.
is one of my most favorite feature I'm waiting on, that is professional brand building.
Mhm.
And even with that, professionals will have their own URL on
Mhm.
Intentful.Work,
Mhm.
and that URL will itself speak like this: Intentful work of Raghu,
Beautiful.
Intentful work of Maqbul Khan. So that's going to be intentful.work/off/Maqbul Khan.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And it gives, yeah, it gives a feeling. It tells you the story, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, amazing talking with you. I learned a lot, I think, in this journey or in this conversation. And I know there's a lot to unpack in future about how things are, the future of work and a lot of other things. And glad to have you on our show.
Thank you very much, Raghu. It was great talking to you. Thanks.
What a powerful conversation, full of intent, honesty, and vision. Today, we explored what it means to build not just a product, but a purpose with Maqbul Khan, founder of Intentful.Work. From challenging the status quo of modern work to building with intention, Maqbul shared what it truly takes to turn ideas into impact. If there's one takeaway from this episode, it's this: the future of work isn't just about smarter tools, it's about more meaningful work. A huge thank you to Maqbul Khan for sharing his journey, his challenges, and his vision with such openness. To everyone listening, thank you for being part of the XTraw AI community. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who cares about the future of work, AI, and purpose driven innovation. You can find links to Intentful.Work and today's episode, resources in the show notes. More raw conversations are coming your way, more builders, more thinkers, more real stories behind AI and innovation. This is Raghu Banda signing off. Happy predicting the future with AI technologies. Until next time, stay curious, stay intentional, and stay extra.